Hey guys, what's going on? Kunal here of Bulls on Wall Street. Want to talk to you guys a little bit about stocks in play. Like, what do you do when the market is just kind of running flat? So one of the things that you'll kind of see with the market currently right now is that we've been kind of, because we got so overbought, right? As we ran from 142 to 162 on the Nasdaq. We got really extended and overbought. And so right now we're in that sweet spot of the market where it's too early to short, the market's too strong, but the market's too overbought to necessarily get any longs. And so any good longs, if they're market directional, meaning just stocks based on regular technical analysis. And so what happens during this phase of the market is I try to move away from high beta type of trades that I like to do, which are just based on technical analysis, to playing more earnings plays or PR plays. We have stocks that we trade all the time, like SQ or NVIDIA, different stocks like that, right? But these stocks are in general just moving with the general market, right? So the market's kind of stalled at resistance. This SQ is going to be stalled at resistance. And so what ends up happening is, right, one just follows the other. So then you're just left with big choppy mess of ranges every day. See, spike up, spike down, spike up, which are really, really hard to trade. So during these times while the market's flatlining, what I want to do is really focus in my efforts on finding stocks that actually have the ability to move regardless of what's happening with the general market. So, in our chat room, we've had really a good last 6-7 days, but almost all the profits that we've been making have really just been in one stock. So I was going through my trades. I use TraderView for my online trading journal. When you go through my trades, almost all my trades last week were duds. They're a couple hundred here, minus 200 here. But what ended up happening was every single day, we made money plus $1,000 basically on pot stocks. They were moving up while everything else was just kind of flatlining. And so, what ends up happening is your day kind of ends up being a choppy mess when you're just trading regular stocks. But if you can find stocks that are in play, and if you can find one that's really ripping and that could have the potential for a multi-day run, then you can keep hammering them and sachet in and out of them and not have to spend every single minute and every single tick watching the SPY or the QQQ, right? And looking for reversals in the market. You're not really even looking at the market, right? You're just focusing on the stock. And, same thing today. I had really just a flat day, lost a few hundred here, gained a few hundred, gained a few hundred, but I ripped $1,000 on this CGC because, this stock has had a crazy amount of volume come in, and there's some type of news out, obviously, what it is. I have no clue, right? But I can tell by the volume and the way it's acting, right, that something's in play on this. And so I want to be focusing my efforts on playing things like that. And, we've been really catching some amazing trades on this every single day. But, even on a day like today, somebody had asked me, the reason I'm making this video is somebody asked me, well, what do you do when the news comes out midday? So the CGC, the news really came out 1:30 p.m. And so you can see here, it was really flatlined. If anything, it was kind of trending down for the whole day. So when news comes out, and you may not catch it right when it comes out, right? And it's still hard to know what to do, whether it's going to be good or bad, because there could be a reversal. So what do you do once it comes out? How can you get in? And so for me, what I like to do is I treat fresh news out that comes out midday as I would a stock that is just at the market open. So I turn this 1:30, or this would be 1:45. I turn this into 9:30 Eastern time and make it so that it's just like the open, right? And so what I have to do is look for my patterns that I would trade at the open. So we have two primarily that we always focus on, right? ORBs and quick pullback plays, right? And so once this thing starts to go, I'm looking only for two options, right? Either it's going to pop here and pull back to the 9 EMA and I get a green candle to hold, then I'm able to get into this thing and play to the upside, or I'm waiting for an ORB, which is just 3 sideways candles, right? And so for us in the chat room, as this thing popped up here, once it went sideways here in a really tight range, simple enough. Long it right here, stop goes right up under, so I got a really tight risk, and now we're into the trade. And like any trade at the open, right, we want to sell quickly because it's an opening trade. So, I got this thing a little bit under 41, And man, it was off to the race. It got to 42.80 in just a handful of minutes. Now, I always want to, because that's a shallow pattern, right? So think about it like this. This is a 3-candle pattern. So what's the most I'm really going to probably hold this thing? A few candles, right? An opening pattern means quick. So once we have that and we take, our profits on it, now what we want to do is look for our secondary pattern. So, once I know that I catch something at the open and catch a good, tread on it, what I'll start to do is watch it around the 9 EMA. So you can see actually how this thing started pulling back to the 9 EMA and hold it, right? And see how it started to hold? And now this is the caveat. See, once it started to hold here, I actually added it back. But when it broke back under the 9 EMA, I got stopped out, took a small loss. That'll happen in trading, right? We're in the game of taking small losses for bigger rips. But once it actually held and it started to really, really hold here, so the longer it holds there, the more confirmation it's giving, I can add this thing back. So, we added this thing back at 41.69 in the chat room, and, it was off to the races after that. It, had a nice spike to 42.50, and then, you ended up kind of closing the day strong with a flat top breakout. So just a simple way of catching things like once they're post news. Now, how do you catch stuff that has post news? Well, a couple things you can do, right? You can run a scanning system or a scanner like this TC2000 I use, so that you always have stocks that are starting to pop. So I use this liquid gainer scan. So when things start to move or they come out of nowhere, show up on my top gainers list, I can see it. You could use trade ideas. I also have a subscription to that one. So you can use something like that. Or for most part, if you have a good community, like for me, in our chat room, I'm the technicals guy, the momentum guy. But we have some guys that are always sitting there posting news and stuff like that. And so, we got some of these guys in here that, as soon as news comes out, they'll be in there posting hey, news come out on this stock, check it out. And so there's just another way to get some eyeballs on it, right? When you have a couple hundred eyeballs on something, it's a lot easier to find stuff than when you have one. So just different ways to kind of get ideas. I always think of a chat room as not a place where you go to follow people's alerts, right? Because the way I move and the account size I trade with might be vastly different than yours, right? And so, we're going to have different goals and different risk management beliefs, right, on how much we can lose on a trade. But a chat room is great for idea generation, right? Having somebody or a group of people talk you through what they're seeing in the market, people that have experience and have some type of edge. And then the other way is it's just a human scanner, right? When you have somebody else that's running scans and talking about ideas and a group of people that are doing that, right, there's always something in flow that's happening. And so, you'll catch really good plays. One of our chat room moderators that all day, is ripping this MBOT here from $4.20, $4.50. And you can see the huge run on it. Now, I'm not a big small cap guy, so I did not get a good old fashioned, big shred on this one. But, some of the guys in our chat room like small caps. So, we'll find out and talk about these things too. So just something to be mindful of, because I know the market's choppy right now. And it might stay choppy for a few more days till there's some type of catalyst that comes out. I'm hoping with this upcoming earnings season, which is starting this week, that we will be able to have some cleaner, fresher earnings plays. There's only been a handful of them out there, but all you need is one hot stock in the week, right? And that's going to run for a few days. And you'll have something that you can trade over and over and over, right? Like I teach you guys in boot camp class, there's 3 different phases to the trading day. You have your open, which has 3 different patterns, right? Then you have your midday, which you'll have 3 or 4 different patterns you can use, right? Then you have your end of day, which will have different patterns. So if you get a stock in play that's really running, you'll actually be able to take maybe 3 or 4 trades in it just in that day. And that's pretty cool. That's why we always want to stick with volume, momentum, right, and some type of catalyst. So hope that helps. As always, feel free to leave me any questions or send me any messages. You know the drill. And, of course, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and let's spread the word to our people that this stuff is good, right? I love you guys. Peace, and don't be afraid to contact me, Kunal at BULLSON.WS. Take care.